What do you think of when you hear the term load management thrown around?
It shouldn't be needed, first and foremost,
Basketball legend Michael Jordan recently issued a powerful critique of the modern NBA's practice of load management, arguing that it has weakened the league and shows disrespect toward both the fans and the game itself. In his comments, Jordan also alluded to a controversial secret behind many of LeBron James's games, suggesting it could fundamentally change how fans view the contemporary league. Jordan's perspective is rooted in his own legendary Iron Man mentality, which he believes is absent today. He famously operated on the principle that if a fan spent their hard-earned money to see him play, he owed them a full effort every single night. For him, there were no nights off for rest or minor ailments. The paying audience was guaranteed to see Michael Jordan at his best. This commitment, he implies, is why people often lament that they don't make them like they used to in basketball. The segment promises to contrast this old-school ethos with the current era's practices, examining the statistics that demonstrate how the NBA has changed since load management became commonplace.
The fans are there to watch me play. I want to impress that guy way up on top who probably worked his ass off to get a ticket.
This mindset was not merely for show, as Jordan's actions consistently backed his words. He famously played all 82 games in a season on 9 separate occasions, a testament to his durability. Even during his tenure with the Washington Wizards in his late 30s, when his knees bore the damage of a long career, he still suited up for every single game. This stands in stark contrast to the modern era of load management, where star players often rest during the regular season. His legendary toughness was perhaps best exemplified during the 1997 NBA Finals, where he played through a severe flu, scoring 38 points in 44 minutes while barely able to stand. This was not an isolated incident but part of a pattern of what some might call a borderline delusional competitiveness. He regularly played through a host of ailments, including ankle sprains, migraines, and back pain. His profound connection to the game was so deep that he even described basketball as therapy, upon his return following the tragic murder of his father in 1993. This relentless drive permeated the entire Chicago Bulls organization. Teammates often stated that practices with Jordan were more intense than actual games, a point starkly illustrated by his infamous 1995 altercation with Steve Kerr, which stemmed from Jordan's inability to dial down his competitive fire. He demanded the same level of commitment from everyone around him, which is a key reason those Bulls teams were not just good, but historically great. However, the impact of Jordan's never-sit-out philosophy extended far beyond winning championships. It was instrumental in building the NBA into a global powerhouse. Before his era, the league's popularity paled in comparison, with the finals not always being broadcast live. Jordan's consistent excellence and his commitment to giving fans a show every single night made the NBA must-see television. Viewership exploded, merchandise sales tripled, and "Be Like Mike" became a global mantra. The league's globalization was not solely a marketing achievement, it was built on the trust that Jordan forged with fans, the guarantee that when you bought a ticket, you would see greatness with no excuses. It is this established standard that makes his recent comments on load management so powerful. When a man who played through the flu, exhaustion, and profound grief says that today's players are disrespecting fans by sitting out, his words carry immense weight. Furthermore, he is not alone in this sentiment. Legends like Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Magic Johnson have expressed agreement, suggesting Jordan is speaking for an entire generation of players who lived by a simple code: if you can walk, you play. This ethos was perfectly embodied by Kobe Bryant, who was essentially Jordan's successor in this regard. Kobe famously despised the idea of resting. In one of his final interviews, he expressed bewilderment at the concept of load management, a philosophy completely at odds with his own career. This is the same player who, after tearing his Achilles tendon, stood up and sank 2 free throws before leaving the court.
The people that I've always had issues or problems with are the people that don't demand excellence for themselves. I won't tolerate that.
This relentless mentality was a hallmark of the Mamba mindset as well, illustrating that Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan shared the same competitive DNA, a trait they argue is absent in LeBron James's approach. This same ethos was embodied by Allen Iverson, arguably the toughest 6-foot player in NBA history, who treated every game as a street fight. Iverson regularly played through fractured fingers, bruised ribs, and sprained ankles. As he stated on the New Heights podcast, the concept of purposefully resting was non-existent during his era. The simple rule was that if you could walk, you were playing.
You could never come to me and talk to me about load management like, AI, you're not playing tonight. Why? We're resting you. You're resting me like you're resting me. That's not load management. That's a suspension, man.
Yeah.
This was not an exaggeration from Iverson. His legendary 2001 season serves as a perfect testament to his toughness, as he dragged the Philadelphia 76ers to the finals while battling 10 separate documented injuries. He is far from alone in this critique. Hall of Famer Charles Barkley has also been a long-time vocal opponent of load management, never one to mince words. On TNT, Barkley has bluntly stated that modern players are pampered, that they cheat the fans, and that it's a joke how often players sit out when perfectly healthy. His perspective is straightforward. Fans pay thousands of dollars to see the best athletes in the world compete, not to watch them wear designer tracksuits on the bench, a sentiment that is difficult to refute.
Stop this BS with load management. We can't keep crapping on the fans where we're like, wait, yeah, you're making $70 million and you can't play basketball 4 days a week?
This straightforward perspective, often called Barkley logic, is considered by many to be bulletproof. The chorus of criticism extends even further, with legends like Magic Johnson adding his voice when the NBA began facing scrutiny over this issue. Johnson stated flatly that the practice of load management is actively harming the game.
They have got to do something about this load management. It's hurting the game.
The essence of the NBA has always been its stars, but a fundamental shift in philosophy now threatens the very covenant between these players and the fans who support them. This change is embodied by the rise of load management, a practice that legends from basketball's golden era view not as progress, but as a betrayal of the principles that built the league. Magic Johnson, the architect of Showtime, understood that the NBA is, at its core, entertainment. His perspective cuts to the heart of the issue. If the stars aren't on the court, the show dies. He has pointed to the league's nearly 40% ratings drop as a direct consequence of fans being unable to count on seeing their heroes play. This sentiment is echoed by the legacy of the Iron Men, players like Karl Malone, who suited up for 80 or more games in 17 of his 19 seasons, Patrick Ewing, who regularly played full 82 game slates despite crumbling knees, and Larry Bird, who battled such severe back pain that he had to lie flat on the locker room floor during timeouts. For Bird, playing through agony was a simple matter of respect. He refused to disappoint the fans who had paid to see him compete. This was the ethos of an entire generation. Showing up was not just part of the job, it was the job. The statistical evidence supporting this cultural shift is both stark and damning. In the 1980s and 90s, it was commonplace for nearly 60 players each season to complete the full 82-game schedule. This wasn't exceptional, it was the norm. However, this number has experienced a catastrophic decline. By 2016, the count of such Ironmen had dropped to 18. It plummeted further to a mere 5 players in 2022. While it has slightly recovered to a projected 11 for 2025, the contrast is undeniable. The league has gone from more than an entire roster's worth of players completing the season to barely a dozen. This decline is particularly glaring given the modern athlete's advantages. Today's players have access to private jets, customized nutrition, sleep coaches, and recovery technology that would seem like science fiction to previous generations. Yet, they play less. The old school operated on ice baths and pride. The new school is guided by load science charts and a philosophy of strategic preservation. The result is a league that often feels like it's managed by corporate risk analysts rather than driven by competitive fire. The modern paradigm was arguably born with Kawhi Leonard and the 2019 Toronto Raptors. Their strategy of resting Leonard for 22 games to ensure his playoff readiness was vindicated with a championship, sending a clear message to the entire league: regular season commitment is negotiable. This victory blueprint transformed load management from a medical necessity for injured players into a strategic tool for healthy ones. At the center of this philosophical storm stands LeBron James. His 2019 statement, "If I'm hurt, I don't play. If not, I'm playing," while logical on its face, is seen by critics as symbolic of a generation that prioritizes brand management and longevity over the nightly grind. This mindset is juxtaposed against the legend of Michael Jordan's flu game, where he scored 38 points in a critical finals victory while battling severe illness. For Jordan, that performance wasn't just about winning, it was a message about respect for the game itself. The debate, therefore, is not simply about sports science versus toughness. It is about the soul of professional basketball. Is the NBA a product where athletes are assets to be carefully managed for optimal long-term returns? Or is it a competition where the highest value is placed on an unwavering commitment to compete, a commitment that honors the fans who are the league's lifeblood? The numbers tell a clear story of a league in transition, but many fear that in embracing comfort and control, the NBA is sacrificing the very passion and reliability that made it a global phenomenon. The code of the Iron Men may be fading, and with it, a piece of the game's enduring identity.
I was injured during that whole year. But other than that, if I'm able to play, I'll play basketball.
I'm trying to make a name for myself. There's no way I can sit. I need to get out there and show what I'm capable of. I want to play. I want to win. I want to make an